Welcome to the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series round number 5. We're here at Winton Motor Raceway, just 2 hours north of Melbourne. And, well, the conditions just keep changing this weekend, don't they, J-Mac?
Yeah, an engineer's nightmare. Not quite wet enough to commit to the wets, not warm and dry enough to really get the slicks to turn on. There's going to be some wild calls out there today.
Let's have a talk about what is racing today. Of course, it is the final round of the Australian XL Series. They've had 2 previous rounds. Toby Waghorn with a very slim 12-point margin.
Yeah, Blake Tracy was on song yesterday, able to come home with a win. Waghorn back further in the field in about 5th place, really closing up that gap.
Legend Cars Australia, well, Ryan Pring at the moment still holds the lead in the championship. He's followed by Shane Tate, but it was Rob Hogan yesterday who was super impressive. He's in 3rd position.
How stunning was he in race 1? A 4-second gap at the exit of the 2nd sector. And just wild, on a totally other level, and a great gap in race 2.
Formula RX8's really turned it on, but it's Brock Payne and Rob Bowden, and they're 1 and 2 in the championship. But in today's race, Rob Bowden actually got a win over Brock and starts to close that small gap.
Yeah, it was a streak that we never thought would finish. 9 races on the trot for the TFH hire car of Payne.
Let's head our eyes over, though, to the muscle cars. The TA2, framed by Hi-Tec steel framing. What an impressive top 10 shootout that was yesterday from Josh Haynes.
It was absolutely unreal. Top qualifier, top in the top 10 shootout. Started from the front, finished at the front in race 1. What can the man of steel do? It's not much more.
Graham Cheney, though, very unfortunate for him. He had a blistering first sector. Unfortunately, on turn 5, the car went off and he had to start out of 10th.
I have to say, though, a big performer and someone I wasn't expecting to come from down the order was Mark Bailey. An incredible run from the Jacks car.
Well, Rotex karts going, the SuperKarts. Let's have a look at some of the Hi-Tec oils. Highlights, though, from this one. Oh, Rotex. They're all out there, and have a look at this. It was 4 wide coming down. Edney was there. It was the 3 names at the front, Occhipinti, Quattrocchi. For a moment there, I thought the number 10 of Pagaro was going to get in there, but unfortunately dropped back a little bit further in the field, and those 3 just started to drive away.
Yeah, there was many lead changes. So Edney, Occhipinti and Quattrocchi, they were the 3 that we had all eyes on because they all led at some stage of the race, and they were a little bit better, each of them in different parts of the track. As Occhipinti got through to the front, not too long after this, Edney and the 51 actually got together. So Edney back into the lead there. So they all led. So this moment here, as the 51 and the 90 got together, that killed all the momentum. Occhipinti slipped up the inside and through to a lead that he would not lose.
We went 3 wide again at this point. We weren't sure if Edney got through on this one, but he did manage to make it. Occhipinti, though, was really strong through the middle section, so although Edney was really fast at the start, Occhipinti would chase him down, and there's where the lead changed for a moment once again. This is about the 11th time we saw the lead change.
And out of the last corner, Edney got a huge run. Occhipinti looked over his shoulder. He looked over the wrong shoulder because Edney was to his inside, and it was just 0.03 at the line.
Thanks for joining us here for the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series Round 5 at Winton Motor Raceway. The Formula RX ads out for their 4th and final race of the weekend. Well, there's no reverse grids in this one. It's basically where they finished in the last race. They're going to send the, well, to where the points are, actually, because have a look. Brock Payne is going to start out of number 1 here for the weekend. He has accumulated the most points with, well, he's had himself 1 win this weekend in the 2nd place. And then, of course, it's Rob Bowden right behind him. They've had a great battle going on, not just this weekend, but also with the championship. So we'll wait and see if they can continue. Jeff Connell behind them and Ivan Vantagiato out of Italy as well, just too far behind him. We like to remind people that, don't we, Jamie?
Thanks, mate. Hey, guess what grid he's starting out of, Matt? Grid 4.
He has been number 4 all weekend.
4 all weekend.
Look, if he doesn't finish 4th, I'm kind of going to be upset. I'm sorry. I'd like to see you on a podium, mate. It would be your first podium in the Formula RX8. You're so close, and Jeff Connell beside you. But he's going to be starting out of 4, and it's a standing still start. Here we go, race underway. Rob Bowden with a fantastic start in the 15. He needs to get himself a win so he can stay within reach in this championship. There's a 10-point difference between him and Brock Payne. And there's not a lot of points up for grabs because it basically goes 20, 19, 18, 17 as you go down through the field. So it's only 1 point if you get 1 position in front of them as a result.
So you can see the left-hand corner of Payne's 33. The TFH team have had a plethora of rolls of 3M tape out there, and they've patched up that left front corner as we go on board here with Ayrton Philippi. Had a pretty strong race in that last one. But Bowden looking to hold off Payne for the second time this weekend. Earlier on today in the wet, Bowden actually stopped the winning streak at 9 for Brock Payne. Oh, Payne got a heap of curb and he's launched it down the inside. That's probably one of his favourite passing spots on the racetrack. He did that in the previous race as well. Bowden did not get a very good run out of 7 that time.
That looked like he, Brock Payne just did a slide job, like a speedway slide job down there, didn't he? Except on the bitumen. It forced Bowden to go wide. I think it was great awareness of Bowden not to make contact there and give him that gap. That's Devjack just up in front too. Now that gearbox, well, last time the gear shifter was flopping around. We saw at the end of the last race, had to pull out. They managed to get that fixed, and he is back out on track. He's sliding it around now in front of Ayrton Philippi. He's got the inside run down here. But we're down one TFH higher RX8 if you just joined us. We saw Diesel Thomas just before. Looks like they've got an engine issue with that car. A lot of smoke billowing out the exhaust.
Yeah, that's not how they're supposed to be. No.
No. That's normally an apex seal that hasn't played, or an oil seal.
Yeah, I'm not a big rotary guy, but I know you are.
No, yeah, massive. And we're all buzz about it. Here we go, Ivan Margiana. Can he go one up on a 4th position? Because he's been 4th all weekend. And will we see his first podium in Formula RX8? Well, he's still got a number of laps. Jeff Connell just behind him. Derwent got his first race win just before as well. And we'll wait and see if he can work his way back through. Because, of course, our first 2 races, well, it's qualifying. That's how you start race number 1. Well, a little bit of dirt there. There's that Josh Thomas. It's one of the 3s with a TFH hire car, but Josh Thomas, there's only 2 of them now, so we don't get them too mixed up. We've seen Thomas Derwent finally work his way through and get himself a podium this weekend, which was absolutely fantastic, because race 1 starts out of qualifying, race 2 starts where they finish race 1, race 3, well, the top 10, they reverse grid them, then we look at the points for the weekend, and that's how they've started race 4.
There's a heap of RX8s out there. I think 21 out there on the racetrack. Justin Lewis has made it back out there in brother Terry's number 29, so he's had a shocking weekend. They lost an engine earlier on in the number 50 car, and he's jumped into brother Terry's car, and they had an issue earlier on in the weekend with that as well. So Justin Lewis has definitely not had the best of weekends. Oh, in the background, yeah, there was definitely, and the 46.
That's Winton
Philippi, our camera car, has had a rotation up at 7 by the looks of it. So Bowden was right on the back bumper of Payne at the beginning of this lap. So Bowden, I think with that wide line that we saw, that might have been a little mistake, because it's just, it separated he and Payne out in the race lead.
So Ed Philippi, that's not where he is in 9 at the moment. He might have dropped back a little bit further than that. I'm just having a look. So that's the 88 car just in front of him with Jamie Canellis, who's back in 11th. So he's going to be back somewhere around the 12th position. Brock Payne still leading this race as they come around to complete another lap here. This will be the 5th lap of 9, and they spread out a little bit. Rob Bowden might be looking for a bit of fresh air in that car, potentially.
I just wondered the same thing too. Maybe he's got engine temperatures going up, because that's the second time where he's actually purposely got out of line and out of the dirty air of Brock Payne. So he might be chasing some engine temperature issues. Mangiato's right back there with him, Connell, and now Devjack. So, look, no one can sneeze here, because any mistake is going to be taken advantage of as Bowden trying to mount that challenge back to get back to Payne on board with Philippi to the inside of Thompson. Canellis just up ahead in the 88s.
Oh, they're holding him too wide through here, aren't they? It's a nice little bit of driving. There's dirt, though, for the agency entry there. The number 75 of Shad Hassan.
I think Philippi was able to go around him, or there might have been just a little touch, because Philippi had a huge armful of opposite block going to try and correct it. So those gaps are sort of stabilising. Devjack has just lost a little bit of momentum, and Hassan's gone off track in the 75.
He's had an excursion as well. I'm not sure whether maybe Philippi's made contact there either. We don't know at this stage. We'll have to try and see what's happened there. Brock Payne now, though, he's looking pretty comfortable. Half a second is the gap back to Rob Bowden, whether Bowden can really make a charge down that. Let's have a look at Hi-Tec Oil's replay at the moment. Philippi, oh no, Hassan's in the background. I didn't see anything happen there.
Well, I think he had actually made contact with the back of Philippi, which unsettled the car, because we saw the reaction from Philippi on the onboard. It went straight to opposite lock, so I think he's just got into the back of him and unsettled himself and just fired him off the outside of the edge of the track. I'm
going back and saying, out of this entire season, Brock Payne has only missed a podium once, and that was race 2 up at Queensland when we went to Morgan Park.
And that's how you go on to win a championship. Vantagiato actually made a little mistake at turn number 10. He got in very, very deep under brakes and it just lost the rear, and he was probably half a car length later on the turn into 10. So he's a little bit vulnerable here to Connell and Devjack on this last lap. So Payne extending, he's out to over a 2-second lead as Vantagiato goes into defensive mode.
I really hope we see him on the podium, because imagine what the interview is going to be like for him. The family's probably going to run out, you know, he's going to get super excited.
Devjack got off the curb, sorry to bump in there, but Devjack just monstered the curb. It unsettled the car, and it's taken a little bit of pressure off Vantagiato as Connell makes a little mistake. He runs wide at turn number 8. So this is definitely not over as Devjack, he's got the Morse code going on the back bumper of Connell, and Bowden and Derwin are now back on the back bumper of Devjack, and Vantagiato's got away.
Look at Derwin now around the outside of Rob Bowden as well. I think Devjack really hurt his pace because he tried not to make contact in the end, and if you just roll out of it and lose that momentum in these cars, you're not going to get that exit speed you want. Rob Bowden is struggling to stay in this one in 5th position. Brock Payne going through the final couple of corners. Ivan Vantagiato might be on his first podium in Formula RX8. This is going to be a fantastic finish. Jeff Connell, can he hold on? We've got the checkered flag out, and Brock Payne in the 33. The TFH higher entry gets the win. Ivan Vantagiato and the Grinio RX8 comes in 2nd, and Jeff Connell gets in 3rd position on the podium with a hard-charging Steve Devjack right behind him. Rob Bowden did really well to hold on to 5th. Derwin almost got him, and then it's Josh Thomas rolling across the line in 7th position.
Liam Hall will cross the line in 8th in the 49. Jamie Canellis should be 10th in the number 88 Australian Hotel Young New South Wales RX8. A good race. And Vantagiato, 2nd, first ever season in RX8, and he's got the job done here at Winton Motor Raceway.
That'll be his first podium in the series as well. He is going to be one excitable driver when he gets out of that car. Can't wait to catch up with him on pit lane very shortly. Brock Payne, well, there you go, another win as we have a look at the results for the Formula RX8 series. Ivan Vantagiato in 2nd, Jeff Connell 3rd, then it's back to Devjack. Bowden, who fought hard with some sort of issue on that car, then it's Thomas Derwin, Josh Thomas, Liam Hall, Jamie Canellis and Ayrton Philippi after having that a little moment off track.
Paul Spiteri in 11th, followed by Braden Taylor, Stacey Vickers, Brett Thompson, Jason Gaylor, Shad Hassan, Steve Simmons, Sam Silvestro, Leslie Reeves and Derek Lapp. And I think Justin Lewis was in there somewhere and had some issues with a transponder. Another
DNF for him, so I'm not sure if that's a transponder issue there or something else going on. So have a look at the championship points now. Brock Payne's got himself a 14-point lead over Rob Bowden, and it goes back to Jeff Connell on 311. So there's a 55-point difference. That one's going to be very hard. Ivan Vantagiato, well, it's all 4s this weekend, apart from that final race. He's in 4th position in the championship. Thomas Derwin in 5th. Ed Philippi doing great. Steve Devjack still holding in there. Justin Lewis 8th. Jamie Canellis 9th. And Shad Hassan 10th in the championship. As well, they always put on exciting racing. These 13B powered Formula RX8s, and there's going to be a lot of excitement down in pit lane with our winners.
Well, the streak has ended, but the smile remains. A stunning weekend. Congratulations, Brock Payne.
Thank you, mate. Yeah, it's good to get that win for the last race. Major pressure there from Rob. Great drive. Pressure from the whole field, so it was definitely a tough race to maintain. But no, I couldn't be happier. If I can just give a quick shout out to Brett and TFH for all the work they do on the car. It's great, as well as my sponsors, Hutchison's Builders, DeTulio Constructions and DAC. I couldn't do it without them, so thank you guys very much.
Congratulations for his first ever podium. Mel with Ivan Vantagiato.
An emotional Ivan, congratulations. P2, your first podium.
Thank you. I don't have the words, you know, like I practiced this speech for so many times, you know, sitting at home. It's my first national. It's my first time here on the podium. You saw me in my home race, you know how much this means to me. To have Ian here, 20 years ago, I walked into his go-kart shop and now he's seen me here on the podium. I just want to thank my brothers. I want to thank my family, my girlfriend, Jason. We worked so hard to put this car together, and my girlfriend, Steven, Justin, Sam, everybody who helped. I'm sorry if I missed any of you. It's a day I'll never forget.
It's an emotional podium, isn't it?
Yeah, the last lap, it was blurry. I was just riding on memory. It was just a lot of tears. You start to think back of all the times it didn't go right, all the times, you know, it was very tough to handle the loss at Tailem and not being able to perform in front of my home round. And
First of many, I'm sure.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you. Let's go.
Here with Jeff Connell, congratulations, third place in the final race of the weekend.
Yeah, thank you. It was a good battle out there. It's been a fun weekend. So made a few mistakes in those. So a bit disappointed. Sort of made up for it second half of the race, but it was good fun anyway. Like that's my 5th ever car race meeting. So yeah, had fun. First time racing here. So yeah, probably a good result. We're happy with that.
Fantastic stuff. Down here at Winton Motor Raceway, we're going to take a short break right now. Don't go anywhere. Hi-Tec Oil Super Series is underway for round number 5 at Winton Motor Raceway. And yes, it is time for the Legend Cars Australia. They get 5 races come these weekends. These little pocket rockets, they get around, and you can see the crew are starting to condense up on the main spectator area. So they're pretty inspiring to see these drivers have that opportunity in the coming years. Ryan Pring will lead us out of this race. Of course, he is currently leading our championship as well. He won the last race by just a few seconds, followed by Benny Goodridge, Robert Hogan, Scotty Morgan, Scott Melville will be on the 3rd row, and then it goes back to Brendan Hourigan, Timmy Reed, Chris Spicer, Asker Sendel, and Rob Coulthard will round out our top 10. So there's still plenty of action to happen here at the Super Series this afternoon. The Legend Cars Australia, well, anything can happen, but it's all about championships. Ryan Pring now leading by 62 points after that last race over Shane Tate, who had a big off excursion where they had to actually tow him out of the sand trap.
Yeah, that was a big points loss for Tate. So coming back to that world deal, that's a pretty cool thing. So I think with Tony Ward and the Legends Team Australia, they're actually going to have a team representing Australia at the Worlds in 2025. So Lockie's going to go up and race at Virginia Raceway, which I think is the same track that Nathan Hearn was racing at this weekend with TA2 up in the States.
Only got 36 countries to compete against, another 35 of them.
Way cool, way cool.
36 countries they race these cars in, and you're about to find out why as we head down into turn number 1. Is Goodridge going to try and go around the outside? Have a look at this. We are on board with Aidan Williams. He had to start a little bit further back in this one. He's going to do a bit of bump and grind. Nathan Preto on the left-hand side of him. He's starting to work his way back through. He's had a tough weekend as well.
Considering how big the field is, they've been very, very well behaved, especially down 3, 1 and 2 of the race start. So they've done a really good job over the weekend. Looking on board here with Hourigan, earlier on in the day, you could not see out of the front windscreens of these cars. It was that wet and misty. It was just miserable.
Oh, you see Aidan will just jump on board for just a second. He's down in 13th position, Preto in front of him as well, and we have a bit of a look there. It's Duckworth in the 160 as well.
Robert Coulthard's in there in the 15.
This is probably where we haven't seen too much bump and run at this point back through this section. They would have done quite a few laps around here at Winton Motor Raceway. It's been a bit of a staple, and it is the home of the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series, along with many other events that they run here day after day. And here we go, Williams going to have a little bit of a nose there. Looks like Nathan Preto will move up a position as he goes past Duckworth. Now, Billy Finnegan in the 86, he had a mechanical black flag last time he came in. He was winning the race up until the final few laps, and where he said, no, you can't have that body part hanging off the car. You got to come into pits.
So he started pretty much rear of field in this one, so he's working his way through. So Finnegan coming from the back on board with Williams as Preto going out of shape in front of him. Look at that speed difference as Preto just killed all of the exit speed out of the last turn, and he might have a run on Coulthard here down into 1. Not quite.
not going to have enough drafting to make any effect there, and he'll have to watch out because look at the man. The Irishman, Billy Finnegan, is lurking in the background as they go 3 wide down into turn number 3. They're not going to quite get on the back of Preto, but Billy's sure going to push and shove. Hourigan now in, where's Hourigan? He's actually 5th position there. He's got, well, he doesn't have Morgan in front of him. He's gone past Scotty Morgan, so he's up into 4th now at the moment. That's Goodrich, you can see, and he's in the Kingpin Wraps entry. It's an 8-lap race, and they've still got 4.5 laps left to go. 5.5 laps left to go, still in this race.
Back on board with Williams in 10th. Just up ahead of him.
Tim Reed in the Scotty Civil entry.
Yeah, he's had a couple offs this weekend, so this is a good return to form for him. And the 33 of Chris Spicer.
Oh, you think it might make a point of this one. Spicer jammed in the middle there as Reed goes by, and Williams looking for an opportunity.
Yellows. Must be a safety car out. Down here into 3. The 2's actually getting retrieved off the racetrack. There it is there. So the 2 of Josh Hourigan.
Let's have a look at the Hi-Tec Oils replay. Josh Hourigan, what exactly happens? He's wide. Oh, obviously he's lost power or something.
Lost power or drive, because it just sort of shut down through the middle of 1 and 2, and he's parked it just off track on the run down to turn number 3. So they've already retrieved that car.
Still 5 races each round, 100 points up for grab for each race, so 500 across the weekend. It can really become unstuck if you don't finish all your races as we get back underway, and it looks like we are green and underway. The green flag out, Ryan Brink. Watch out, Hogan going to make an early challenge on the outside. No surprise there as a 46 goes around. He'll be on the inside run though, coming out of turn number 2. Gets the pass done, slides it down the inside. He might have been talking to Billy Finnegan a bit earlier, I reckon. 5 seconds potentially could be a lot in this field because we know they sort of come in clumps, don't they? There's normally 3 or 4 battle packs within it. So if you're in that battle pack 5 seconds, it might push you back 4 or 5 positions.
Well, looking at those chasing him down on the scoring there, that could drop him back to about 13th or 14th.
I don't think there's going to be enough road left for Goodrich to really catch up to Pring, especially when he's got Hourigan all over the back of him.
I wonder if Pring had a little moment down at turn number 3, because it's probably 4 to 5 car lengths that he's lost at the start of that lap, because it was sort of 0.4, 0.5 of a second, and it's out beyond 1 second now. So, yeah, game over. Hogan looking for his 3rd win for the weekend out of 5 starts.
The White Rhino. Block joinery entry there. The number 46 of Rob Hogan out of New South Wales will come around and take 3 race victories from 5 races this weekend. He's got himself on the podium 4 times, and what a fantastic, that will close him down in the championship too. Let's have a look at the official results. So Rob Hogan will get the win over Ryan Pring with Benny Goodrich in 3rd. Then it's Hourigan, Morgan, Sendell. A bit of a question mark over Billy Finnegan there because we know he's carrying a 5-second penalty in 7th. Scotty Melville 8th, Aidan William 9th, and Shane Tate, well, that was a fairly good chunk of passes to get back into 10th position.
Timothy Reed in 11th, back to Nathan Preto, Chris Spicer, Robert Coulthard, Blake Hayne, and then it was Mark Duckworth in 16th, followed by Darren Bradley, Bruce Duckworth, Nathan Locke, and Kyle Murphy completing the top 20 for the Legend Cars Australia.
Well, it's going to be very tight as they head into the final round of the championship. And there you go, your points up on screen. Ryan Pringwell, he's got himself, at the moment, it's about a 76-point lead. Shane Tate drops back into 3rd in the championship, another 5 points behind. So they're going to be really close. Ryan Pring needs to keep bringing this home, though, because, like I say, he's had an Aussie title. Now it's time to see if he can get an Australian championship as well under his belt. Only a young man, too, not into his 20s yet, so he's got plenty of racing time still left to do it. So impressive run from him. There's a few others down there as we go down as well. Benny Goodrich not too far away when it comes to those points, already in the 2000s. So potentially he could work his way into a 3rd or 2nd position as well. So we got some winners to go and have a chat with down on pit lane.
Brendan Hourigan securing 3rd place in the Legend Cars Series here at round 5. Congratulations.
Thanks very much, mate.
It was an incredible weekend, lots of different weather.
It was a tough weekend, lots of ups and downs, but we managed to secure some points.
Well, congratulations, mate. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, mate.
Over to you, Mel.
Rob Hogan, P2, but finishing the weekend with a race victory.
Yeah, it was really good. Ryan was pretty fast, so yeah, trying to hang on to him at the end there, but yeah, got the win in the end, which was great. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Australian XL Series out on track for race number 4, and this will decide the Australian Championship as well. And look at Patterson. He has got away with the lead. We just missed the race start. Super exciting, but it's all on the line. Patterson, he is 43 points behind with a potential 50 points to grab in this race. Blake Tracy, though, on the 195 is the one who leads us. He's got a 12-point gap over Toby Waghorn, who's currently sitting in 5th position, who Waghorn's had a shocker this weekend, really, in terms of what we've seen his performance throughout the series. He has gone from a lead to a deficit now. Yeah, he's just struggled with car speed throughout the weekend. So with this one, Tracy cannot afford a DNF, all right? So he's got to be careful out there. Patterson, look, he's in the mix, but there's enough points there if Tracy has a DNF that there's a chance there for that, and Waghorn's still in the mix as well. So there's a fair bit to go on here. The last race of the championship last year at Calder Park is still one of the best XRL races I've ever seen in my life. It was just stunning. With Tyler Collins, Jalen Robotham just went to war in the wet at Calder, tied on points going into the final round. So going into this race, the gap is just 12 points between Blake Tracy and Toby Waghorn. Well, Matty Boylett's got something to say, though. He still wants a race. When we saw him get one a little bit earlier this weekend as well, that was obviously that was race number... actually, I'm having a look. Matty Boylett, he didn't get himself a win, did he? Yet. He has been chasing that down because Blake Tracy had race 1 and race 2 win. And last time around, Caleb Patterson got his first race win in that cup, because that's a fresh build for him. Boylet got a time pen a little bit earlier on the weekend for some contact on the back of Blake Tracy, and that's why it's missing the right rear of the back bumper on the XL. Yeah, I mean, they've had some differences between them. Matty Boylet's the only one who's had a perfect round, which was round number 2, actually, which was at Queensland Raceway. He got all 50 points in all 4 races. Until then, we haven't seen anyone get a perfect round. Very hard in the XL Series, I think, because they're so evenly matched when it comes to engine. We're talking maybe 3-4 horsepower from the fastest cars to the slowest cars. It really comes down to how you tune the limited amount of things that you can change in the suspension and tyre pressures, and really, well, it's the nut behind the wheel. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, speaking of that, Patterson's just gone gardening, and he did that unsighted to us in the previous race. It actually replayed on the highlights package from race number 3. We did exactly the same thing, and that's allowed Tracy to close back up onto the back bumper of the 101. Just ran wide. Let's have a look at the replay here. It picks up maybe a little bit of that inner curve, bounces the car out a fraction. It's funny how they don't lose a lot of speed when they go out in the dirt, do they, these little XLs? As long as they're confident in keeping that foot buried and keeping the wheels in motion and can sort of keep it straight, they don't really lose a lot of speed or a lot of position. Yeah, and that sort of translates around to 9 here, which they've just come off on the run down to 10. If you get a bad run from 9 because it started at 7, you've got no exit speed and getting the run down here to 10. So, yeah, there's definitely some great passing opportunities around here, but all of these young drivers are so fast and so competitive on any given day. Any of these young drivers could win an XL race anywhere in the country, as Tracy goes down the inside of Patterson, who's going to try and stay and live there on the outside, giving each other racing room. Nice exit side by side. It's going to be a drag race down to turn number 1. Who's going to blink first? Patterson's got the more favoured inside line, but Tracy's got a little bit more momentum as Boylet gives Patterson, his Queensland clubmate, a little bit of a Ricky Bobby. Did you see the shake and bake symbol there? There was definitely, yes, there was a Queensland thing going on there with a little bit of shake and bake, but it actually hurt Boylet. And Blake Tracy was actually able to stay in that and come out in the second position with Patterson still leading. Yeah, Tracy kept looking to his left, trying to find exactly, play him out, see who was going to play chicken first and get out of that. But Boylet came behind. The hand went up, the old fist went up, the shake and bake, and the Queenslanders working together. I wonder if Boylet maybe just got him a little bit too hard and unsettled Caleb as he sort of tried to get on the brakes and get the thing turned into one, because it hurt Boylet more than it hurt Patterson. Oh, turn number 1. Those tyres start to protest as they turn them in. Patterson doesn't get the run he wants. Have a look at Tracy. Nice run down into 3. Has a look. Crisscross down the inside. Hard under brakes. Patterson with a tiny little glimpse of tyre smoke as he locks the brakes up. Boylan slots in behind, and Tracy is back in the lead of this race. I think they've probably grown. They've probably doubled in numbers over the last 3 or 4 years. The downside of that is we've probably got 4 times as many races for them as well, because they're cheap to get out there and have fun with.
Patterson got a whole heap of curb on that transition from 6 up to 7 and unsettled the car. It didn't actually hurt it. And he's tucked right up, back up. He sort of tried to carry the speed up to 7, and he's right back on the back bumper of Blake Tracy. So Tracy looking for the win for the final race of the championship and to take the number 1 for the next year for the Australian XL Championship.
Patterson. Oh, was that Boylan with a bit of a lock up there just for a moment, potentially?
The 2 Queenslanders going at it for 2nd and 3rd. So Tracy's got a little bit of a gap now. A little bit of breathing space.
Well, it's wheels up as they come into the final 2 corners. Now Boylan goes, well, if you're not going to get the job done, Patterson, maybe I'll have a look. We come around the final corner in this Australian Championship for the Excel Series. And there we go. Blake Tracy will get himself another race win. And that's 3 race wins from 4 starts this weekend. It'll put him in front in the championship, and he will be the Australian number 1. You can see the crew down there on the right-hand side. They are hugging. They are cheering on. And here's the results from race number 4. Tracy with the win over Patterson, who just couldn't get it done. He led for a lot of laps though throughout that race, and it's back to Matty Boylan, Sam McLaren, Brad Verica, Toby Waghorn, Josh Richards and Edward Mitchell. Unfortunately, Tyler Collins, the number 1, not making it out on the track, or Caleb Heffron, who we saw leave race number 3 with mechanical issues as well. As we finish off our Australian XL Series here at Winton Motor Raceway, as part of the Hi-Tec Oils Super Series. And here's the points. Blake Tracy officially the number 1 and the winner. Toby Waghorn holds on to 2nd position. Caleb Patterson couldn't quite get there. Brad Verica had not a bad weekend to get back up into 4th position. Tyler Collins, unfortunately, drops down into 5th. Now, Matty Boylan's the one for me to watch out for, because he only did 2 rounds. So imagine what would have happened if he could have thrown another 150 points at that. He would have been right up in the mix, of course. Let's head down to pit lane, though, with our winners.
Well, category manager for the Australian XL Series, Brett Peters, awarding the 3rd place trophy to Caleb Patterson. Congratulations. 3rd in the Australian Championship. An incredible job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been a long 3 rounds. We had a DNF in Sydney, so to still finish on the podium in the whole series is absolutely incredible. Yeah, without that DNF, who knows what could have happened, but well done to the other boys. Blake and Toby drove mega all year round. Toby's had a tough weekend this weekend, but he's pushed through, and yeah, he's doing really well. So, no, I'd just like to thank all the sponsors, and thank you very much.
Great stuff. Over to you, Mel.
P2 in the championship, Toby Waghorn. Tough weekend for you this weekend, but it's all about the points in the championship, and you've ended up on the 2nd step. Well done.
Yeah, cheers, thank you. Well, you have those weekends, you know. It's just, we ran so good the first 2 rounds, and considering we've never been to Queensland, and yeah, I'm really happy with how we've done this year. It was really close racing with Blake and Caleb all year. Congrats on Blake, he's done really well all year. It was really close. I was hoping to race in this weekend, but you know, you have those weekends. Cheers.
Fantastic effort. Well done. Jared?
And your Australian XL Series champion, Blake Tracy. Congratulations. The crew right behind you. You were coming in 2nd in the championship. You have snuck it through right at the 11th hour. Well done, mate.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's, the team did everything they possibly could have. It was all in my hands coming into this weekend. Dad and Jack Toe didn't go to now. My uncle Brendan setting up the car. Just lots of hours this year doing what we did, and I think we're 25 points down, and to come out to what we did, I knew I couldn't step a foot wrong, and to be at my home track, I've grown up here since knee high, so to do it here, I'm really pleased. So.
Drink it in, mate. Days like this don't come very often. Well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Winton Motor Raceway has been a fantastic weekend of mixed conditions here as well, where it all started off wet on Friday. We had wet and dry come Saturday. Have a look at our Australian champion for the Hyundai XLs, Blake Tracy. What a win from him this weekend to come from 2nd and take it out. Of course, it's all about to unfold. Plenty more excitement to come as the TO2 muscle cars will be back on track after this short break. Fire up the cars us here as the TA2 muscle cars come out in their fourth and final round here for round 5 of the Hi-Tec Oil Super Series at Winton Motor Raceway. Yes, championship implications out of this race. Of course, Josh Haynes comes into this with a 79-point lead over Graham Cheney, and another 32 points further back is Brad Gardner, who's been strong this weekend. He's had 2 race wins. Josh Haynes with 1. They have battled it out because they've been 1 and 2 in the podium all weekend. Let's have a look at the Hi-Tec Oil's highlights, and this is how race number 3 got underway, and there's plenty of action further back as Graham Cheney trying to make a move out of 10th. Jason Pride had a look down the inside here. Josh Haynes on the outside. He probably had the preferred line. We just saw him pushed a little bit wide by Brad Gardner there. Maybe that's what fueled a bit more of that battle to kick things off early.
And on the colder tyre early, Josh just took the opportunity to sort of come back, and Bailey there with a right front lockup. And some pretty good exchanges early on. Aaron Prosser was making further forward progress, battling there with Mark Crutcher. He got narrowed up a little bit there, and just, I think that's the opportunity Josh Thomas took to get ahead of him. This was Josh Haynes. This was what surprised me. He obviously knew he had a car underneath him, and that was a fairly decent amount of contact as they were racing side by side out of turn number 9 on the run down to 10.
Yeah, he really put the nose cone of the Herzog Steel Mustang in there, didn't he? And they continued this on all the way up to turn 11 with obviously Haynes on the outside of 10, and Brad didn't want to give this position up one bit. Josh Haynes got the car turned in there, and I thought after a couple of laps it was starting to get, but this is the moment of this race where Domain Ramsey comes across turn 1, across the ripple strip, and all of a sudden there's flame. Robbie Farr spins out on what we now know to be oil on the track. We think potentially it's a dry sump line that's been ripped off. There was a huge fire, and Domain Ramsey shot across into that tyre wall.
Yeah, he's just got so much of that curve on the backside of the curve that it looked like it ripped an oil line, which you picked very, very well, Matt. So, and then these two just went to war again, Haynes and Gardner. They traded the lead a good 3 or 4 times during the race, and this was the defining point here. Gardner took an opportunity with Haynes getting a little bit sideways and just losing momentum out of the second turn on a run down to 3.
Yeah, Haynes, look, he tried everything. You could really see him pushing the limits of the Herzog Mustang, and unfortunately he just couldn't quite get there. It was only 26 hundredths of a second over the finish line between himself and Brad Gardner. Mark Bailey picks up his first podium in TA2 muscle car. Let's have a look at your starting grid. No surprise, Brad Gardner's going to be leading us out. He's had a fantastic weekend with Josh Haynes right alongside, and there is nothing in it. 4 points separates them this weekend when it comes to points. Then we go back to Mark Bailey and Aaron Prosser, who've been super fast. Josh Thomas, who's had a podium this weekend in race number 1. Graham Cheney right beside, who's had a bit of a mixed weekend, really, with a bit of bad luck, but really it was that top 10 shootout for me where he was on a flying first sector. Unfortunately, dropped a wheel and went off the track.
So his explanation for that is he got caught out by a big gust of wind.
The Hi-Tec Oils Super Series round number 5 and the TA2 muscle cars about to get underway with their 4th and final race of the weekend. Your 2 front runners, there's only 4 points between them this weekend, but there's a bigger gap in the championship. Brad Gardner's got a bit of work to do. Can he bring the Hi-Tec Oils 22 home with 3 wins this weekend? We're about to find out as we are waiting for the lights to go out and all 8 cylinders to fire. It's a field of Camaros this weekend. Not too many Mustangs and 1 Dodge, but here we go. It's all noise as we head down to the first corner. They're staying too wide. It's probably the most sedate we've seen them this weekend. And there's a little bit of smoke there, maybe a brake lock up from Mark Bailey. Pride's gone dirt. He digs out a big trench on the front of that car, and they're all starting to avoid collision.
That would have done a lot of damage to the front end of the Pride Camaro because that just ploughed through the dirt on the backside of the curve at turn number 1. Gardner's got the initial jump on the opening lap here at 12, chased by Haynes. Settling into 3rd is Prosser, who got a fantastic start.
Here we go, on board with Robbie Farr now as he ducks in behind Paul Hadley in the 50 machine, the PhD car. They turn out some absolutely beautiful cars. Obviously, Graham Cheney in the same stable. Crutcher! The number 4's turned around, and how did that happen? Has it made any implications? And we'll wait and see if we see any damage on any of the cars that were in that pack as well. Have a look at this, Mark Bailey. He's got a lot of attention now from Josh Thomas, who's pushing forward. He said he wants another podium. That would be a great result for the team here this weekend from TFH.
This is Haynes and Gardner side by side on the opening lap. So Haynes got a bit of a run on the run from 9 down to 10. Gardner's got the inside line to 11. But again, Haynes looking very, very racy, but he's got to be careful here because Prosser and Bailey and Josh Thomas are lined in behind them, not too far away. So Josh Haynes already forcing the issue with Gardner, and we've just seen this happening all weekend. How good is Prosser? His second ever race meeting in the TA2 category.
A lot of dirt, though, as they come out of 2, and that's what they need to contend with Jason Pride before digging all that up. I tell you what, Chris Pither's phone's going to be ringing hot after this weekend. There might be a couple more drivers that want to get a few skills off of him as we look at how good Aaron Prosser is going. We've seen how fast he's potentially been, but in race mode, he is absolutely killing it this weekend. And oh no,
Hadley off.
Yeah, that's Paul Hadley. He's going to make it back on. So Crutch has just gone past him, which means he'll be down in 17th position.
So we don't know what happened to Crutcher, whether or not he went around by himself. I mean, there was a big clutch of cars around him where there was a little bit of maybe nose to tail and contact that sent him around, but it's dropped him right back through the order. So he was 4th in the points overall going into this race, leading the over 50s. Serco Masters Award.
Someone with Robbie Farr, he's up in the 12th position now, right behind Hayden Jackson. So Jackson's had to do a little bit of work there, coming out of 13th position. Robbie Farr up 4 positions as well. So they could probably stay with Action Jackson. That might actually not be too bad a result for Robbie Farr.
Well, it'll be a good thing for him to latch on to someone like Hayden with more experience and to continue to learn and go forward. Gardner with a little bit of breathing space now ahead of Josh Haynes. Here's a replay coming up. So this is... what happened to Crutcher? Okay, might have been a little assist there potentially without looking too hard at it from the 23 of Hollinger. He was certainly close quarters. This was sort of the aftermath, but the 23 of Hollinger was in there. It still didn't sort of really see what triggered it off, whether there was contact or Hollinger was reacting to Crutcher going around.
Yeah, we don't know what game they could potentially be playing. Haynes might be just resting the car for a 3 or 4 lap dash at the end, potentially let Gardner really push his tyres. You never know, although they don't want to stick together too much because there will be heat transfers. Josh Thomas looks like he's looking at a dive down there. It's not going to happen. Didn't have the proximity to be able to dive down the inside of Mark Bailey, but look, he must have a little bit more pace than he wants to play with.
So we talk about Josh Thomas. There's another young guy with not a whole heap of motor racing experience. He's actually got a little bit of off-road racing, and that's about it, and pretty much jumped straight into the TA2s at the end of last season. So he's doing a really, really good job out there. 2 different lines there. Gardner might have just got in there a little bit hot. He was wider, back on board with Thomas, in behind Bailey and Prosser, and they're now just starting to drop off the back of the leading 2.
He is working his way back to the field, or has he gone a lap down?
Oh, I think he's a lap down.
Something's happened to him as well. He is down.
Jackson's sort of, that's not 4 positions. So Jackson's had an issue somewhere. So Thomas has broken the front splitter on the TFH 169. The sister car's parked over there at turn number 9. No signs of a safety car as yet, halfway through this final race of the weekend for the TFH Hire TA2 Muscle Car Series.
Let's have a look at the Hi-Tec Oils replay, and yes, he's just gone around, dropped a wheel on the outside coming out of 5. Gone for a bit of an excursion. He's probably lucky he didn't try and come back in too quickly there. Nice, safe re-entry, but maybe that front splitter's going to have a little bit of damage on it now as well.
A couple of laps left to go here with Brad Gardner out in front. Thomas. Yeah, so Bailey's definitely struggling. He alluded to, I think, meltdown on the grid that they've made some changes to the car to tune it up for this final, and it doesn't look comfortable because he's just got no car speed at this end of the weekend. As Cheney went by, but now he's back under pressure from Josh Thomas.
He's really there. He's got the blowtorch on him, doesn't he, at this point? Going through that back section there through turn number 8. Try and line himself up for a run down into 10 out of this corner. It's all about drive here. Listen, minimises the wheel spin. He's not going to be close enough to have a dive down here. Maybe down into 11 if he can get good exit. I don't think he's going to be close enough this time. Mark Bailey doing a fantastic job, which with a car that doesn't look as glued to the ground as what we saw in the previous race.
Just it's just not nicely balanced. I think he's struggling for sort of mid-corner grip and power down because it's just not a nice package underneath him. And a little bit of work to do going forward with them. So Gardner, he actually extended. I saw that gap narrow down to 0.9 as well, but Haynes actually lost 0.3 on the last lap, so the gap's back out to nearly 1.3 seconds. as Gardner put 3/10 on him on the last lap. So Gardner looks to be under control here with about a lap and a half left to go, doing it pretty comfortably. Josh Haynes tried to sort of force the issue early and tried to stay with him, but Gardner just chipped away, and was just doing a 10th a lap, and has got a little bit of separation now between himself and the championship leader Haynes in the Herzog Steel number 37 Mustang.
Potentially just teasing a little bit there, and they might be playing a few little games if they've got the pace where they just back the car off just a fraction. Don't let them think they've got a little bit and then just take the car away again as they drive off. 22 in a dominant lead at the moment over Josh Haynes. Prosser still in that third position. There is a fair bit of a gap of just over 13 seconds, but take nothing away from how quick he has been over the weekend. But Cheney is chasing him down. Bailey just behind, and then it's Thomas who's all over the back. Reedy in 7th, Niall in 8th. That's fantastic for the West Aussie after he had that big moment earlier today where he completely missed turn 1.
He talked about being in the top 10 by the end of the weekend, and that's happening at the moment, but he's got Crutcher and Robbie Farr not too far away from him. In fact, Crutcher within 3/10. Final lap board is out on Winton Motor Raceway for Brad Gardner, extends out to 1.4 seconds. So a couple of laps ago when Haynes sort of closed the gap to 0.9, maybe Brad's made a little mistake somewhere, lost 3/10, but then in the same time, the next lap, Haynes lost 3/10 to Gardner, and that lead got back out. So they're sort of seesawing each other, and the gap out to 1.4 seconds on the last lap.
I think Thomas now struggling at the moment in 6th position because he did have the pace on Bailey. Even when he had that excursion and came back, he caught up very quickly. Now you can just see not quite having the extra pace over Bailey to really put himself in a position to make a manoeuvre. As we go back to our race leaders in the Hi-Tec Oils 22, Brad Gardner leading by nearly 1.5 seconds over Josh Haynes, who's all about championship at the moment in the Herzog Steel Mustang. He had the championship lead coming into this weekend. He'll extend that out just a little bit over Graham Cheney. Brad Gardner will close the gap up, but it's going to be very hard work, and something's really got to go wrong at the next round for Josh Haynes if Brad Gardner's going to have an opportunity to win this championship from here.
So Brad Gardner looking for 3 wins out of 4 starts in the penultimate round here at Winton Motor Raceway. In the end, does it pretty easily in the Hi-Tec Camaro. Gardner with the victory. The championship leader, Haynes, in 2nd. And Prosser here, he's going to hang on to 3rd. Cheney couldn't get close enough to him. And Aaron Prosser with that podium he was talking about a little bit earlier. And the Kiwi will be very, very happy with that one. And that's a good comeback from Graham Cheney considering where he was at the start of the weekend.
And the best thing is it keeps Brad Gardner in the championship fight, currently sitting 3rd. But there he goes. He takes out race number 4 and the final one for the TFHI TA2 Muscle Car Series framed by Hi-Tec Steel Framing. Josh Haynes behind him, followed by Aaron Prosser a little bit further back. Graham Cheney, Mark Bailey, who ends up 3rd for the weekend. Josh Thomas in 6th, which was a bit of recovery. Reedy, Crutcher, Niall and Farr will round out your top 10. Then it's Steve Wilson, John Hollinger for 11 and 12. Back to Pride. Cam Sendell was going around in his car, ended up in 14th. Then it's Paul Hadley, Steve Coulter, Hayden Jackson, who went a lap down, and we're not quite sure. Des Collier finished the race early. Domain Ramsey did not make it back out after that huge ball of fire in race number 3, which saw him exit stage right and unfortunately end up in a bit of a tyre barrier. So this is how we look at the championship points now. And Josh Haynes, well, he is leading by, and I've got to do the maths on the fly here at the moment, it's going to be 82 points over Graham Cheney, and that's where it'll be, and he's got himself a 107-point lead over Brad Gardner. So that's going to be very hard for Brad to try and claw a number 1 position. What it does mean, though, is he is within 25 points of Graham Cheney, so a good weekend for you and a not so good weekend for your competitor could mean Brad could jump into that 2nd position, potentially still the 1st. Well, what a way to finish off our TA2 muscle car racing for this weekend at Winton Motor Raceway. Brad Gardner, well, he ends up with 3 wins out of 4 races. Josh Haynes with a win in 3 seconds, so they've been battling it out all weekend. Aaron Prosser ended up 3rd in that final race with Graham Cheney behind him, but Mark Bailey with an impressive weekend. Let's head down to our round winners. We've got them down in pit lane.
Well, for the very important job of awarding the trophies to our top 3, Brett Thomas from TFH with 3rd place, Mark Bailey. Congratulations, Mark Bailey. An incredible job. Top 3 in the points. Man, what an event.
Yeah, it was. It was brilliant racing. So many tricky conditions over the weekend with all the wet weather, and yeah, couldn't quite keep up with these two, but managed to get it back for a podium. So, yeah, big thanks to Jack's Tyres and Auto, the stable, and Broken Hearts Burger Club, and especially Ash Seawood Motorsport for giving me a great car.
Fantastic stuff. Over to you, Mel, with second place.
Second place today in the round, Josh Haynes. So, Josh, Brad's kept you pretty honest this weekend.
Yeah, look, we had a really quick car at the start of the weekend, but yeah, come to the end of the weekend, Brad had that advantage. So well done to Brad. They had a quick car. We were pushing pretty hard at the end there. So great race, great battle. It's always a good battle with Brad, and yeah, it's good to see him back up here. Thanks so much to the Herzog Steel. You know, I can't do it without any of my sponsors, so it means the world to me. And the car wouldn't get out on track without my team. So yeah.
Well, it may not have been your day, but it's still your year, isn't it? A 100-point lead still in the championship.
Yeah, we still got a good lead, and yeah, next one's the home round. So looking forward to it.
Thank you, Jared.
And with first place, the round win, Brad Gardner. Congratulations. This one is all yours. Brad, an incredible event. It's taken so much to get here. The boys are having Wagyu this weekend.
Yeah, definitely. They'll get fed up. They can stop having soup of the day, and I'll let them in on some Wagyu. But no, I said to Tim on the radio that's we earned that one. Just this whole weekend, you know, yesterday we probably weren't that good, and we knew we had to go to work, and the wet gave me some good confidence, and then the win this morning, yeah, it's just, it couldn't have worked better.
Fantastic. It takes an incredible crew of people, and they've really supported you this weekend. Job well done.
Yeah, I just can't thank all my local sponsors enough. Med Electrical, TNS Tippers, Castec Raw Supplies, MP AC and all air conditioning, Southern Auto Body, Palm Family. It's just Merit Logging, everyone that helps me out. You know, I can't thank them enough. And George for giving me this opportunity, and I'm just glad we put it all together.
Your round winner, Brad Gardner.
Winton Motor Raceway has been a fantastic weekend of mixed conditions here as well, where it all started off wet on Friday. We had wet and dry come Saturday. Of course, we head to our final round. It's going to be at One Raceway in Goulburn on the 25th to 27th of October. It's just 3 weeks away as we finalise the end of the 2024 Hi-Tec Oils Super Series right there. It's going to be a fantastic fight to the finish, especially for all our title contenders. We'll have to wait and see who raises the #1 in the championships after that weekend. We can't wait for you to join us in 3 weeks' time. Make sure you stay tuned to all of our channels to find out exactly what's going on.